Yes, welcome to today's weekly outlook. So continue to have a look at how the pairs are moving and how we are preparing and planning to trade them the following week. So let's start with the EURCAD pair. So looking at EURCAD from the yearly time frame, we can conclusively say that this is our low. This is the low. Price has actually failed to reach, and then we have our highs here. So we define our area of trading, and then we can begin to get into the specifics. And with the specific, we want to see a strong candle break either to the upside or to the downside. So when you look at this candle here, took away this high, and then we had that. Remember, you just need to mark your lows and high to be able to identify for you your support and resistance areas. So once we have this, now we shift our attention into here because we no longer see any strong candle break. So once we have that, we can go to, if you cannot see more on the time frame you're in, and you would like to see more price action, understand candle dynamics, you will have to move to a lower time frame. In that case, we come to the monthly time frame, and on the monthly time frame, we also want to mark our lows and our highs. Okay, so starting from the lows, if this is our all-time low, and then we saw this was an area where we had support becoming resistance and all of that. So let's just mark our highs and lows here. So we have these highs here. So if I just mark it, so we have these highs. If I just extend it all the way up to here, I bring it like that, you'll see this is very important area, an area where support became resistance here. And then we see here was support, was broken, resistance, resistance, resistance. As simple as that. Once we have that, let's also mark our lows. So we have our lows here, which was also acting as our support area. So now we know we are trading from here to here. So for us to be able to understand more price action, we need to go to a lower time frame. In that case, which will be the weekly. So on the weekly, we also need to mark our highs and our lows in this area now, because this is where our focus. So you see, this is a high. So if I just mark it like that, and I do it like that, and I extend it all the way up to here, it will perfectly align with this area, which was an area of break to the downside, which became resistance. So here we have our resistance area now on the weekly chart. And what do we want to see? So the same way we had support, support, support here. Now we have resistance, resistance here. And this is surely an area we shall begin to look for selling opportunities when price reach here. But of course, we are not just going to jump in and sell. We want to see price come into here and gives us a confirmation to either come down like that. So once we get the confirmation, that is where we shall look to sell. But this is what we have on EURCAD, and probably by the end of this week, we'll have the selling opportunity, or we shall see whether it will have to push us up to next week. So this is what we have on EURCAD. We're looking for selling opportunities, but when it reaches to this resistance area. And then now going on to another pair, because we've looked at the euro pair, we need to double the euro pairs and understand them. So we can pick one more euro pair. So in that case, let's go with the euro AUD. And with euro AUD again, we go back to our lowest time frame possible, our highest time frame possible. We look for highs, we look for lows. So this is a high with the wick, and that tells us that eventually this high will have to be filled, because there is a wick here which has not yet been filled, and we want to see when it will be filled exactly. But we cannot say it will be filled immediately, but eventually this is a wick which will also act as our resistance area. And then coming below, we want to mark our lows and our highs. So the first way is look for a strong candle break, which is this one here. And then we have our high here, which was acting as a support here, support for so long, 1, 2, 3, 4. For the last like 4 years, this area has been a support area, because we see each time the candle comes into this area, it is rejected, like 4 years support. So once we have that, we can now begin to also mark our highs and our lows. Just so we have this high and we have this high. So let's mark this one, the most nearest one, because it will be more relevant. So once we have that and we want to see more price action, we can go to the lower time frame. In that case, which will be the monthly time frame. So on the monthly time frame, you can see how this support is actually was being respected. So we have this was support, it became a resistance, now support. That's why you see price for the last 1, 2, 3, 4 months has actually failed to break this. So this is a strong support area. And then once we have that, we also mark our high, which is this. And then we can go to the weekly chart and begin to understand how price is actually approaching this resistance area before we can target the higher ones. But it is also important to know that there is another weekly resistance here. So we just want to see how price we'll expect some price reaction from here before we can actually target this. So we have our all-time resistance here, and then we have an area here of resistance where price can actually react. So shall we see something like this before it can go there, or we shall see a strong break which will just take us to this? That is what we shall have to see. So we want to wait for confirmations around here. So this is our view on Euro AUD and also EURCAD, which we've already analyzed. So once we're done with the euros, let's go into our the dollar pair, and what more way to understand the dollar than the dollar index. So we need to understand the DXY. So this is our previous analysis on this pair and what we're expecting. So if you've watched our last video, you would actually know exactly why this is that. But let me just show you that where we are starting from. Okay, where we are starting from. So it is important to help us understand exactly how we're trading. So we had this as, just go and watch the previous video, but we had this as our resistance area, which became support. And then we have another resistance, which is becoming a support area here. So once we come to the monthly, we were able to also understand that this is the support and this is the resistance. Okay, so we can now come and be like, so this is on the monthly, and this is what we were expecting. We wanted to see price come into this support before we can actually begin to buy. Okay, or at least we want to see this resistance broken. So on the weekly, so this is what we have now. We are seeing price approaching to this, but then we have another pullback. So we're still expecting, the dollar is still looking a little bit weak, but then we see some strength beginning to come in. So we shall need to see whether indeed price will be able to reach to this, because we seem to have a break below here and then price going back to retest it. So here we just have to wait and sit on our hands as we wait. So our analysis on the dollar index is still the same. Then let's go to the gold. We've actually been looking at gold from last week. Now we want to see how that is going to be able to translate. So again, going to the highest time frame possible, which is going to the highest time frame, which is this, then we can begin to know that this is our all-time resistance area, and this below here are our support areas. And then going to a lower time frame, which is the monthly time frame, to be able to understand exactly how price is reacting and behaving. So we had our support area here, which is our low. Just mark your lows, the lows you see. And then we have the resistance, which is there. And then coming on to the weekly, this is how the weekly candle has actually closed. Very nice. So we had this was our high, our resistance area here. But if you see price here, kind of did a fake out, because price seems to have broken up and then comes back in. But what area did it break up? This area here. You see that strong break? Same principle. So now we can just focus on these ones here. So we have this break. So now we want to see whether there will be a retest into this area for price to be able to continue down, or we are going to have just price continuing to come down. So we are looking for selling opportunities on gold because of this candle. Look at how bearish it is. So we want to see a retest into this region for it to be able to continue down. Yes, but you need confirmations. You're just not going to jump into the trades like that. You want to wait for clear confirmations before you can be able to sell. But the reason for that is, we've been explaining this. COVID was able to bring gold to the highest, to one of its all-time highs. And then we also had the Ukrainian conflict bringing gold to one of its all-time highs. And then now when we had the Israel and Gaza situation, gold was able to move from here all the way up to there. So, but now we are beginning to see that the Israel and Gaza conflict may not have enough capacity to push price all the way to all-time high, the same way the Russian and the Ukrainian conflict did, and so was the pandemic. So if that is that, then we are beginning to see gold trying to push back, becoming bearish. So you just need to plan to trade and trade well. This is what we have. And then let's go to Bitcoin finally. So on Bitcoin, we will want to understand how Bitcoin is actually moving. So if you again didn't watch, you can go back and watch the other pairs. So we had our resistance area, which was here. Okay, which we had just marked as our high here, the whole of this area, because we had support here, and then it became resistance, support, broken, and now we had this week is yet to close. We have like a few hours for the week to close, but we look like to have broken. We are breaking above this temporarily, and then we have this. These are the areas of resistance. So you just want to be able to understand how this is moving. The reason why we marked this is because of this high. So we have this monthly high, previous monthly high, Bitcoin. So will Bitcoin actually be able to first push here before it can come down? Because right now we are looking at Bitcoin being very bullish. And why is it bullish? We had this break, retested, support, and then another break. And then we want to see a possible coming in to retest this to be able to continue. But now what will bring price down here? Maybe this monthly high. If it's not taken out, then Bitcoin has to come to retest around 32 level before we can head up. Yeah. So this is what we have for you today. Have a good day.